If you were in high school and you do these 12 things, you are going to be inundated with opportunities and be ahead of everyone else. I graduated number 4 in my class, and yet I still made thousands of mistakes. This video will help you avoid those. I'm Logan, I'm a sophomore at the University of Arizona, and this channel is all about advice for students. There is a lot in this video, so feel free to pause or rewatch as much as you need. There's going to be advice for your social life, your lifestyle, and just academics. Starting first with your social life, and with the biggest thing that I have, is don't worry about what other people think. If all you care about is other people's opinions of you in high school, you are wasting your time, I promise you. None of that is going to matter in a few years. If you recall from my video about the spotlight effect, you'll remember that people don't actually care about you as much as you think they do. So if you're living your everyday life worried about what someone's going to say about your hair or what someone thinks about your outfit, don't. None of it matters. If you really care about popularity, try to be well known for like one thing. This might be athletics, some kind of club, or maybe you're really good at the guitar. But more on that later. Enjoy being a kid and not having adult responsibilities. I'm almost 20 right now, and the things that I have to worry about, housing, food, and all of it comes down to money, are all things that as a freshman in high school, I did not think about at all. And you know what? I wish I could go back to that time. That time was a lot simpler and my life was much less stressful. So trust me, and everyone tells you this, but believe me, as someone who was in your shoes a few years ago, growing up is not all what it seems to be. In all honesty, my life is pretty good, and yet I still wish that I could go back to your time and do the things that you're doing. Find a good group of friends. Whether you're in a small town or a big city, when you get to high school, you're probably meeting a lot of new people, and this is crucial. You want to surround yourself with people that will push you to be a better student. Maybe you want friends who are interested in the same kinds of things as you. Now, I'm not saying you have to find a set of people and stick with them throughout the entirety of your high school career. You're going to lose old friends and make new friends. It's a continuous cycle. But the type of person that you're looking for in a good friend should be consistent. You want someone who will be a good influence. All right, you're really gonna need to trust me on this one because it's something that a lot of people struggle with. Don't worry about relationships. You should still actively pursue them, but they shouldn't dominate your life. The drama and even sometimes heartbreak associated with high school relationships can be a lot on one person. Most likely, anyone you date in high school, you won't even talk to after a few years. More importantly, you should not be letting your high school relationships dictate almost any of your future decisions. I know a lot of people who have stayed home instead of go to college all because of a girl, and they have regretted that decision. Typically, they break up after 2 months. Now, why would I say that you should still pursue those relationships? Well, it's because those experiences are still important. While your life should not be dependent on those relationships, the ability to communicate, to share your interests, to flirt, honestly, are skills that will benefit you in your future life. Don't be stupid. When you get to high school, and especially in your later years, you will be surrounded by a lot of people who are doing a lot of dumb things. And you don't even need me to tell you what those dumb things are. You already know. I'm telling you, don't get into that mess. It might seem appealing, but there is zero upside to any of that. I'm in no way advocating for this, but at the very least, wait until you're in college and you're like a little bit more intelligent. It will make a big difference, I promise. By the way, if you want more real advice like this, not just the generic stuff that teachers and parents tell you, hit subscribe. All right, let's move on to lifestyle and habits. The first thing that I want to tell you is to get involved. Participate in any kind of club or activity that your high school offers that even moderately interests you. You should especially look into anything that has anything to do with public speaking. Almost any career that you will possibly go into requires some kind of communication skills. When you're in your first year of high school, you should be getting involved in anything you possibly can. Later, when you're like a sophomore maybe, you can cut those down to just 3 things that you actually care about. But for now, as a freshman, expand your perspectives and do pretty much anything. Make it hard to say no. Save up some money. Now, I'm not going to tell you whether or not you should have a job in high school, because that's going to depend on a lot of things. Your family situation, whether or not you actually have the time, etc. But either way, no matter what your situation is, you should try to save up some money. For one, it gets you started on a really good habit of saving money, which not everyone can do. And 2, if you decide to go to college and live on your own, you'll have a nice little bit of cash to help you out. Something you can do right now is set aside $20 from your birthday, Christmas, or if you have a job, a paycheck. You'll be surprised how quickly that builds up. Journal your experiences. Journaling is something I wish I had started way earlier because it's still something I struggle with today, and I'm not very consistent. There are 2 big reasons why I think you should start journaling. Number 1, It will help you remember important things that might be able to go on a college application or a job application. And number 2, it's a great way to reflect and develop some early skills and emotional maturity. This might be as simple as writing about what you did in the week or the month, setting some goals for yourself, but we'll get to that later. So now we're going to get into academics, and while it's the last big group of pieces of advice, I think it's actually probably the most important. First thing, and I can't stress this enough, get to know your teachers. Develop relationships with them, especially the ones who are in fields you might be interested in. For example, I had an amazing relationship with my history teacher. He wrote me a letter of recommendation, gave me advice on college, all kinds of things. I still talk to him to this day. Something you can do immediately is stay behind for a few minutes after class and just ask a question, or maybe ask for help. If you have good relationships with your teachers, they will give you incredibly valuable advice, and they will give you a lot of leeway on assignments. Create effective systems. There are a few reasons why systems are really good, and you should be developing them. First and foremost, we have grades. Now, I'm not going to tell you that you need to study more, because you already know that. What I'm going to tell you is that you should be learning how to study more effectively. You need to come up with a study method that will yield incredibly good results, one that can be replicated for any class or any topic. If you want to hear more about this, check out my video about taking notes and why it kinda sucks. The second reason you should be coming up with effective systems is it's just a good habit. For example, maybe every night you set aside 15 minutes to just prepare for the next day, whether physically or emotionally. Make sure you have all the materials you'll need for the next day. Double check your schedule to make sure you don't forget anything, and review any assignments you might have coming up. The third reason for creating systems is for future you. I'm talking about goals. Every semester you should be creating a list of goals for yourself. Maybe it's about GPA, maybe it's about going to the gym, but I think you should be focusing on something else. See, when it comes to goals, there are a few different kinds. There's input goals and output goals. Input goals are what you do, what kind of effort you put in, how often you do something. Output goals are the results that come from those inputs. For the most part, they're kind of hard to control. They can be unpredictable and inconsistent. So the goals that I want you to be coming up with are input. An example might be every week, study for an hour. 3 times a week, go to the gym. Every other week, hang out with a different friend or try to make a new friend. And there are so many other good options. This is once again a great habit that will be so important for you in your college life or professional life, whatever you decide. Alright, so the next piece of advice is for you to challenge yourself with tough classes. Sooner or later, you're going to have to take classes that are pretty challenging. So it's better to take 1 or 2 now as a freshman rather than 5 when you're a senior and you're just ready to be done. Trust me, I've been there. When you're a senior and you only have 1 semester before you graduate, the last thing you're going to want to have to do is take calculus or some kind of intensive English class. Get it out of the way as soon as you can. And that ties in really well with the next point, which is to become best friends with your academic advisor. I'm not even exaggerating. You and your academic advisor should be like this. Meeting every semester, you need to talk about your schedule, future plans, literally anything. Collaborate with them on what kind of classes you should be taking, when, etc. An additional benefit to having a great relationship with your advisor is that when you're a junior or senior, more than likely they're going to give you a lot more liberty than others. To tell you the truth, my life is pretty good. I have good grades, good relationships, all that fun stuff. So just imagine how much better you can be than me if you commit to all of the things in this video. And a lot of these things you can take action on today, right now. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, hit subscribe. You should also check out my video about how to pick a major. Thanks for watching, and I hope I'll see you in the next one.